We discovered something today about New Zealand that we never knew existed. Part of the New Zealand culture. Apparently there's this thing called the cringe culture, where New Zealanders see something and they literally cringe when they see it. That was the worst production when that girl started singing.
Felt like watching the Muppet Show or something.
If you want to know what that thing is, let's jump on into the episode and find out. Hello, and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking to you about New Zealand culture, in particular, the cringe culture that we never knew existed in New Zealand and is just...
But I'd never heard of it until... No. Yes, you've had your...
It's a very impromptu show. Literally, I read a comment from a guy on YouTube about 20 minutes ago, and I read it, and you know when something just clicks and I thought... Oh, this is an ideal topic to talk about on the podcast.
Yep.
So bear with us because we haven't planned this episode. We're literally running off the seats of our pants, which we do normally. I'm going to just read you the comment that I read 15 minutes ago. It was from a guy called Ken Haller. Yep. Thank you so much, Ken, because without this, you wouldn't have this show. So you've got to thank Ken for this. He wrote to me after he'd just watched one of our podcasts called Misconceptions in New Zealand. And on that podcast, we talk about the theatre scene in New Zealand.
Yes.
And how fantastic it is. And he, in answer to that podcast, he wrote this. Hi, Liz. It was interesting to hear your comments about theatre and entertainment in New Zealand. New Zealand performers are very talented. However, Kiwi culture for a long time has had a cultural cringe. If it wasn't from overseas, then it wasn't any good. We'd find local stage productions hard to watch, as well as TV shows and movies. Over time, this resistance, or cringe factor, as it was known, has been broken down, and Kiwis can now watch their own actors and be entertained without feeling as if they have to hide behind their fingers on their hands, sometimes peeping through to see what's going on. I know what that feels like. Yep. Peeping through to see what's going on. That's like when your kids are in something, isn't it?
It's like when you're watching Doctor Who as well. When you're a kid.
So he tells us about some examples that of this evolution over time in theatre. Is Middle Age Spread was a hit, The Foreskins Lament, followed by Ladies' Night. And he does say that the last play, Ladies' Night, was ripped off by the British.
Right.
Go the Brits. And they made that into the movie, The Full Monty.
All right.
But he also says that one of the writers of Ladies' Night was a guy called Anthony McCartan, who went on to Hollywood to do huge things, including The Theory of Everything and The Darkest Hour. So, he then just goes on to say that New Zealand, as efforts, have developed strong talent, but these actors often head to Australia, and the Aussies believe that these actors are Australian. Examples of this include Sam Neill, Andy Anderson, and Daniel Cormack. So, thank you so much, Ken, for that. Have you heard about that, the New Zealand cringe culture?
No, never heard it in my life.
No, me neither.
Yep.
So it was just like, when you read something and you're like, what? So that was so fascinating. But the reason it can't have come at a better time, that comment, is because on Thursday, just gone last week, the four of us, me, Brian, Sonny and Tess, went down to Wellington. My niece is at the New Zealand Centre for Creativity.
Yes.
It is called, can you remember how you say it?
Tearoa or something?
Te Awaha, which is the New Zealand Institute of Creativity. And there they were doing a performance of Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of
Fleet Street.
So we booked 4 tickets to go down and see this show. And we saw it on Thursday. And it was quite possibly, and I've got to calm myself down here. If I'm like this now and it's almost a week later, but it was quite possibly the best show, apart from one other, that I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, it was. It was fantastic.
And I'm 50.
We're standing by our souvenir brochure place, which is by our piano. We've seen some fantastic shows around the world, Broadway, West End and things like that. And this was really, really up there. It's a lovely small theatre. It just made the hairs stand on your back of your neck and your arms as they started singing. And we were so close to them at eye level, no more than sort of 3-4 meters away from them. Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely outstanding.
And what made it even better is always in New Zealand this happens. You expect to go and you expect it to just be mediocre or whatever, and because no one's been telling you, oh my God, wait till you see this show. No one even said that. It wasn't on social media. I'd never heard anyone say, you get there and typical New Zealand. Oh, it blew me away. Yep. Me and Tess, my daughter, we were sitting Brian was sitting in between us. And you know, when the first note goes, like they hit the first note on the orchestra, and the first line is something like, "Did you hear the tale of Sweeney Todd?" And it was just like the company just, they were just
exploded,
alive.
Just
they
like,
were just fantastic. And me and Tess looked at each other and we were like, this is going to be good.
Those girls to the right of us just hit those notes bang as they hit Sweeney. And it was just, wow.
It makes the hairs on my arm go. Honestly, from beginning to end, that production was faultless, absolutely top notch.
It was.
And
top
when
draw.
it was, and when I say it, there was one other that it comes like the other one that it's on a par with was Elaine Page in Sunset Boulevard we saw on the West End, and that was one of those shows that I thought I'm never going to see anything as good as this again.
And Elaine Page that night was standing in.
Yeah, she was standing in for Patti LuPone, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I just need to tell you, hang on. And like I say, remember, this is all, we haven't prepared for this. So this is very rough. So this is the brochure. Okay, the Sweeney Todd brochure.
Piece of paper.
No, it's a proper brochure.
Oh, yeah, no, but,
and it's all wrinkled because every time I see someone now that I know, I'm pulling out the brochure and telling them about it. But the musical, so it was directed by a guy called Bennett Emerson. Well done, fantastic guy.
Yep.
You've made me very happy. But the musical director was a guy called Mark Durrell. And this is the next twist in this tale.
Yeah, this is New Zealand all over, isn't it?
So this guy, we get there and he's sitting down at his keyboard and the orchestra must have been made up of what? No more than
There was only
six?
one, there was like one violin, a couple of cellos and and then there was
six,
the guy on the drums and everything.
People, and a big guy on percussion. And it's just, and this little, sorry, I don't want to say little man, but this man was sitting there at the keyboard, very understated, typical New Zealand, and he starts conducting. And when you just think...
But he's playing the keyboards at the same time as well.
It was just
he's using his head to conduct.
This man was just amazing. And the music from this show, like I say, it just filled you up and it was just made every hair on your arm stand up. And every note that those guys sang, you could hear, the pronunciation, the diction, everything was just... It was like they were... right in your ear like that.
It was spot on, wasn't it?
Anyway, so then when we get the brochure... I started reading that this guy, he was one of the UK's leading musical director. And he's done things like, he's worked with Hugh Jackman on Oklahoma. Yep. He was, loads. Sorry, I can't read it because I'm just so excited. But Guys and Dolls, he's worked with, he did the Sweeney Todd in London. He's worked with Trevor Nunn, Sam Mendes. He's worked with all these huge directors, all these big stars. Yeah. And here he is sitting in New Zealand, in this college. I know. And we only paid about $25 for those tickets. Yeah. Didn't we? Yeah. Or $40 or something. It was so cheap.
And Chris Crowe, who is probably one of the leading vocal performers in New Zealand, was Sweeney Todd. Yeah. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. And that's why that's one of the reasons we went to see it, because we saw Chris Crowe. Well, Chris Crowe was in a production, Phantom of the Opera, here in New Plymouth.
Which Liz was Madame Jury. She was the principal with this guy.
Yeah. And so I always follow him and support him and everything. And it was just, I messaged him afterwards and I was like, why did you not tell me that was the best thing I'm ever going to see? So, I'm sorry this is a bit of a ramble and I'm getting a bit excited, but, New Zealand, come on, you know? Come on.
Yeah. But, I mean, going back to what you say, the cringe content, because I haven't had much time to think about it, but when you're heavily accented, I can see why people would think, oh, well, that's not how it's supposed to be done because it should be spoken like this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a bit like, even when you're back in England and you go to an amateur dramatics and it's a heavily accented Lancashire cast and they're trying to do something and it's just like, oh, that doesn't sound quite right. But at the end of the day, it's still acting. It's no different than going to America and seeing an English Shakespearean play in American. Yeah. It's, and you think, well, Americans can't do Shakespeare. Well, they can, but it's just slightly different.
Yeah, well.
But that's what you've got to accept, isn't it? It's just like, it's like years ago watching an Australian film. You think, no, I'm not watching an Australian film. I'm not great level of the accent. And you'd probably think the same about a Kiwi film. But then when you watch these films and you put the accent aside, if you can in your head, which a lot of people can't.
unless you're watching the film and it's set in New Zealand and it's supposed to,
but that's the thing, isn't it? But it's
and also, Bri, sorry to interrupt, but also the New Zealand films now, again, I mean, 15 years ago, I don't know, I'd never watched a New Zealand film in my life. Like, I didn't know New Zealanders made films. And then, suddenly you start watching them because you live here.
Yeah.
And then you realise, actually, you put precedence over a New Zealand film. If you want to watch a film now.
You do, but...
a gritty British drama.
Yes, exactly.
I would always go for a gritty, I can't remember his name now, the name of the director that I love, but gritty British drama and then a gritty New Zealand drama, film, because they always do, well, the ones I like anyway.
It's the guy who did Brookside, who wrote Brookside, isn't it? What was his name? We watched one the other night about the prison. I can't remember. Anyway.
But but they're always gritty and real and that's what I love. And it's just, and that's obviously what the world is loving
but
now.
You go back years gone by in the 1950s and the Americans were doing, period dramas and things with American accents. And it's just like, and that was kind of hard to me. It's like, well, you can't have a period drama set in the UK with an English accent, with American accent, sorry. So that cringe, because I can understand that side of why people would think that. But I think it's when you actually realise we do good things here in New Zealand,
Yeah, and maybe it was just because, like, when you first, when the settlers first, when the pioneers first came over, you were like, you were just building up gradually, and like you didn't have that wealth of actors, going back lines by parents or something.
But it seems to be like, when you saw this is London, this is the BBC, and then, I found out when he came to New Zealand that actually the New Zealand news presenters used to talk very quite clipped. When you listen to old New Zealand reels and newsreels, it was almost like, well, you can only speak like this if you're educated or you're in the the media trade, and so maybe that side of it. Then you've got. I don't know.
I don't think it's got anything to do with how they spoke, Bri. I just think it's just that they didn't think they had the talent.
Well,
I just think it was that.
Yeah,
I think it was
maybe
like,
that's right. But I mean, that's only me just
in.
looking at my side. That's my,
your interpretation
my
of it,
take on it. That's what, just
I'm
haven't
sorry,
put too
Brian,
much.
but you're wrong.
Yes, well, thanks.
No,
I know you're thinking you're feeling sorry for New Zealand people, but it's I'm just saying I can understand.
No, I get it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I just didn't think of it like that. But the other thing as well, Brian, talking about America, we went to Broadway and went to see Les Mis. And I am not joking. That was the worst production. When that girl started singing, on my own. Yeah, when she started, I thought, is this? It felt like I was watching amateur.
Honestly,
$200 those tickets
felt like
cost.
watching the Muppet Show or something. It
awful.
was just, she sounded like this nasally American thing like that. It's just like,
Careful, Brian, because we do have Americans watching this.
But I haven't got. America rules the world with Hollywood, doesn't it? Like, but it's talking about that thing, Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. He had an American accent. What's all that about?
Would you have liked to play Robin Hood?
Yeah, I could do with a Scouse accent, couldn't I?
Little Cornish Kiwi.
Yeah. He went travelling in the Middle East and came back with an American accent.
Did he?
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Richard the Lionheart.
Yeah, and another show we went to see in 2016, I just wanted to slip this in as well, was we went to see The Curious Incident of a Dog in the Nighttime, I think it's called.
Yeah, that
Do you
was
remember?
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Again, in
Blew me away.
Auckland Theatre Company, fantastic theatre company. It was directed by Sarah Brody, who then went on to come down to New Plymouth, Taranaki, and direct a show that
Mary
our son
Poppins,
was in, our children was in, Sonny and Tess, Mary Poppins.
Yeah, full Broadway production of Mary Poppins.
And that's what I mean. It's just like, it's so understated. It's just like, and I kept telling everyone, Sarah Brody, have you seen The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime from what she did in Auckland?
And all those New Zealand actors nailed all those English accents.
What, in...
all the dialects, yeah. In the
Sweeney Todd?
No, the one in... in London.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking...
Are they English?
That guy's got to be from Bristol, the way he's talking.
I know, yeah, that's what I thought.
And it wasn't, they're all Kiwis. And he's thinking,
yeah.
Absolutely amazing vocal coach.
Yeah, so when I read that comment, that was just one of those things I just thought, oh no, I'm going to have to talk about this because I just hope you know what you've got. I mean, I think you do know, like the new generation obviously do. Like, maybe it's just the older generation, still...
but the thing is when you look at, they embraced Lord of the Rings like they did, and won Oscars, and I remember Peter Jackson turning around and saying, this is just putting New Zealand on the map. not just on the map, but on, the acting map, everything about it, wasn't it? The production, the lot. And you just think,
that
fantastic
film we watched the other night, and I can't remember what it's called. Why do I do this? Why do I not do my doers? So it was a film set in New Zealand, set in Gisborne, and it was about...
Oh, you know what it was called? It was about chess, and it was something like, not The Dark Knight.
The Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, it was called.
What a memory.
Oh, my God. It was just
great, wasn't it?
Fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
Gritty, just, it was just real. The news, the thing I think about the New Zealand films is it's like being in their front room with them.
Yeah.
Like, just like being there, and you don't feel like, oh, I'm watching something.
Yeah,
it's
you're there
just,
with them
you're
almost.
in it.
Yeah, and the way they
Why
just...
can't everyone capture that?
I don't know. Because the way they capture their houses and, the gangs and things like that, it was brilliant. If you get a chance to watch that film, watch it.
It's an old film, isn't it?
Dark Horse. Yeah, it is. And it's based on a true story. It's not that old.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's not that old, no.
Oh, no, but I thought it was like 2017 or something.
Yeah, but same. So
but it's not just come out.
No, but it's what I'm saying. It's not an old, like a, 1990s film or something like that, is it? Yeah.
And also, there are, you go and see some amateur dramatics around, wherever you go in, and yes, it can be a little bit, there's
always ham.
But isn't that the same wherever you go in the world?
But it's like Sonny went to Howrah last night, which is a town about an hour away outside of New Plymouth, to watch a school production of Footloose. And, he came and said, what was it like? And he said, well, it was good. It is what it is. But it's entertaining and it's good to watch.
Yeah.
And you just think, do you know what I mean? It's that type of thing. It's just like, if you're going to go and watch amateur dramatics, it's, it might not be as good, but sometimes it's better than the big pantomimes that they put up at the West End.
So that's all we have to say about that. This is going to be a short podcast, unless you've got something else to say. But
no.
It was just, I really, really wanted to share with you. And a big, massive, massive shout out to the Witch Musical Theatre Company. It's just...
They were brilliant. Yeah.
And next they're doing, I looked on the brochure, and they're doing Roxy, this. So believe me, I will be going to see that. Yep. Yeah, Witch Music Theatre it's called. WITCH.
Yep.
Every single one of those actors nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Sometimes when you go and watch something, you're like, well, that one's a bit weak, or that one, I can see why they put her at the back.
We went to see that.
Not one will like that.
We went to see that. What's that other company? Is it the Indian Ink Theatre Company?
Indian Ink.
They were brilliant as well. I think Holly Shanahan was in that, wasn't she?
I don't know, but they've won awards in Edinburgh for the best play. They've taken it to the Edinburgh Film Festival. Yeah, Indian Ink Theatre Company.
And they travel around, don't they? They're travelling theatre companies are fantastic. Yeah. They really are.
So come on, New Zealand.
Go for it. Yes, a bit like England today. Get into the final.
I knew you'd have to put that in.
Oh, yeah. 55 years is a long time. I was 3 years old when they last got there to a final. It's a long time for considering it's your national game.
So our fingers are crossed that they're going to beat Italy on Monday. So
so this podcast will probably go out in a few weeks anyway. So who knows?
So the next time you see Brian, he'll either have a big smile on his face or
I might have an England shirt on.
So I just want to say thanks so much to Ken for sending that great comment and giving us the opportunity to talk about New Zealand culture and just tell the world that New Zealand theatre and the films and the music is just fantastic, and it's just getting better and better, which is brilliant. And I feel proud to be able to watch it grow, and just think, wow, you're just here seeing this.
Yeah, I love going to the theatre in New Zealand.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, we don't go enough. We were saying that the other night. We've got to go more.
And tonight we're going to the French Film Festival to watch a French film down at the Lenlai Museum. So
the Lenlai, he was a famous artist and sort of designer here in New Plymouth, and he's got a whole museum for him based on it. Yeah. Gorgeous building. Right, so off you go and take care, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Stay strong and see you soon. Bye. Hello. Daddy, I love him. Mother thanks you. Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.